Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Scoop on K-State, a show about the journey of K-State to become a next-gen land-grant university, featuring insights and stories from Wildcats leading the way. I'm your host, Adam Walker, President and CEO of the K-State Alumni Association, and today I'm pleased to welcome Gene Taylor, Director of Athletics at K-State. Gene, thanks for joining us.
Adam, it's great to be here. I've seen the majority of these, but this is the first time, so appreciate you having me. It's awesome.
You're a seasoned pro. I think you've done quite a few of these.
I don't know about that. But.
So we're looking forward to it.
You know what I'm looking forward to?
What's that?
Is we got the ice cream thing. We had our staff meeting this morning. There were donuts. So between the donuts and the ice cream, I'm having breakfast of champions.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and Call Hall, you can't beat that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll get that. That's favorite part. We'll get to that a little bit. You've been athletic director here since 2017, so it's pretty incredible, 8 years, and overseen remarkable success. You know, maybe just share a little bit before we get started, overview where we stand as an athletic department overall.
Yeah, you know, Adam, I've been very fortunate. Obviously, we've got great coaches, great student athletes. We have had a lot of success since I've been here. Gone through some transition of coaches, and the folks we've been able to bring in understand the culture and the value of K-State and bring the right kind of student athletes in. You know, but right now, obviously, we're in that kind of that crossover between winter sports and spring sports. It's kind of like when you go from fall to winter, you got the fall sports, and then all of a sudden you're playing basketball. Now you're playing basketball in a really critical piece of the time of the season. And then baseball's kicked off. Obviously, our women's basketball program is really on a roll. I think they're a lot of fun to watch. And the men were on a really good streak. They won six in a row. And this league is very, very difficult. A tough trip to Utah. That's just a very difficult place to play. But I still think they have a lot of work to do. But I think they're in a good spot if they just keep finding ways to beat teams like they have. And then the women just, they have a really good chance to host again, which is really exciting. We hosted last year, tremendous crowds. It was a lot of fun. They're just a really talented team. Golf teams have kicked off their seasons, both doing very well. Baseball, Pete, Coach Hughes has probably challenged himself a little bit in the early season schedule. But, you know, and then track's finishing their indoor. They got the Big 12 championships coming up. So just a lot of good stuff going on. New coaches. We've got Travis, our new track coach, and Colleen, our new soccer coach. So just a lot of exciting stuff and just a fun time of year.
Yeah, being a former athletics administrator for 13 years, I can understand.
Plus former track athlete.
That's former track athlete at K-State.
Absolutely.
Travis is terrific. It's a great hire there.
Good dude.
You seem to make pretty good hires, and that's an exceptional one. But you mentioned the crossover. I don't think people realize how taxing that is for your staff. You talk about when you transition the fall and the spring, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, Adam, that's a great point. And I appreciate you bringing that up because, you know, the event time and the amount of time they spend preparing for the event, and then if you've got a track meet and a basketball game going on at the same time, or, you know, your baseball's already planning on what we're trying to plan for baseball because they're going to be hosting at home soon, and then weather has an issue, and then you know they're already planning for potentially hosting a women's basketball regional. So the hours that our staffs put in, that, you know, our fan bases I think appreciate it because they walk in and we do put on great events, but the time and effort by our staff is phenomenal, and I really value that because I was an ops guy myself, and so I know the time that I was a ticket guy. But it's just a lot of commitment, a lot of pride they take in their jobs.
Yeah, it shows. So, you know, we're here to talk about, you've been on the circuit with Ask the AD, talking about changes in college athletics, and we're probably in the midst of one of the most significant changes in college athletics. And so maybe you can talk a little bit just briefly about the House settlement and its impact to K-State athletics and our alumni and university and community.
Yeah, Adam, I would say this time that we're facing with the House settlement is probably one of the biggest challenges college athletics has faced in my time, and I've been around a couple of years. And, you know, I go back to the 80s when we had the crash of some of the banking systems, and we cut a lot of sports. And, you know, we all went through COVID, which was an awful time for everybody. But this one is a challenge that college athletics has never seen before. And what the House case is, it's a lawsuit that was brought on by student athletes that basically challenged the NCAA rules that says that athletes should share name, image, and likeness revenue. It's been a long-going lawsuit. It hasn't been settled finally. Judge Wilkins is a judge in California that has preliminary approved the settlement. And basically what it is there's two parts. There's a back pay for student athletes that didn't get a chance to participate in NIL from 2016 to 2022. Those dollars equate to about $2.6 billion to former student athletes
across the whole
industry. I think you probably missed that.
I missed it by about a couple decades almost.
But if you put it in perspective, a guy like that's currently playing in the NFL right now, that's a pretty good quarterback at the Kansas City Chiefs, he would actually be able to participate in that if he signed up for it. And so that's the back pay, and those dollars are coming from NCAA dollars. The going forward dollars is 22% of the average revenue of the Group of Five, or the Power Five schools, are now Power Four. That adds up, when you do 22% of the gross revenue, adds up to about $20,500,000 that we now will be a budget line item for all of us that we have to come up with, and that's revenue that we'll share with our student athletes. There's a lot of different formulas of how we'll do that. But that's a new, and what's interesting, Adam, that it's not a decision we made as athletic directors or conference commissioners. It was lawyers and judges that said, here, this is what we're going to hand you. You figure out how to pay for it and come up with the dollars and figure out how you're going to do it. So it's monumental. There's no question.
Well, and you talk to colleagues around the country. I talked to a few. They're still trying to figure out, what's this look like? How are they going to afford it, number one? And then how they distribute it. And I know you're still working through that. And you have some models and plans, but that's all in flux across the country. It is.
And we've been working on it for several months. Once Judge Wilkins kind of preliminary agreed on the settlement, we've been putting together those models. It includes additional scholarships potentially. It includes roster limits, which is very new. For instance, a football squad that is typically 120 to 125 is now going to be limited to 105. And so those are decisions now that Coach Kleiman's going to have to make and figure out how he's going to manage that. Now, it could change because everything's very flexible right now. So
that's 20.5 million, and then you get into scholarship costs. That's how you get the 22 figure.
Right. We figured about additional, I think about 40 scholarships, which is about $1.5 million that we'll add to our programs. And again, part of that's all how we're balancing everything from revenue share to additional scholarship for some of our programs, which is a good thing. Some of these programs will benefit additional scholarships, particularly on the women's side, which is very, very positive. But it's a big number, and it's a number that's coming at us fast and furiously.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about NIL. How's this impact that? What's that going to look like as a collective and whatnot?
Yeah, once again, it's all a part of the equation we're trying to figure out. So when it's all started, NIL was managed by collectives. We had a Wildcat NIL that was kind of a third party outside of the athletic department. That has now changed, and so now that's being managed by us. You can still do true name, image, and likeness, which was what it was supposed to be. Those dollars, if anything that's $600 or more, so somebody gets a deal and works with a local grocery store and it's valued $600, they would have to go through a clearinghouse to approve that. And so every student athlete in the country is going to go through this clearinghouse, which will be interesting. But the collectives will play a different role now. They won't be out there generating direct dollars like they used to. They'll be more focused on like a marketing agency potentially, where they'll go out and help our athletes with third-party, true name, image, and likeness deals. And so that's kind of the role that we're thinking about the collective will do for us. They'll probably rebrand themselves a little bit, but we're still working through the details of that.
Yeah, still work with them. It's going to be just different capacity,
a little different
more in-house.
Capacity,
yeah.
Which
I think is going to be a good thing.
Which will be good now because the dollars that do come to us will be able to be managed through the Ahern Fund, and they'll get their points, they'll get their tax dollars, their deductions out of it. So there'll be a lot of positives that they weren't able to get when it was through the Wildcat Collective.
Yeah, and I think it'll also help promote K-State in some
100%,
ways, which will be good.
Absolutely.
So, this is clearly transformative change. You talked about the budget impacts. Maybe talk about some strategies or what your department's looking at to help get there in terms of revenue. Cuts, how you make it all work.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. It's literally, Adam, we just have gone through everything. We were pretty efficient budget. Our budget's just about $98 million. And we basically use every dollar that we have. So we've looked at some areas of where can we save dollars, where can we make cuts that aren't going to make us bleed, so to speak, but would save us some dollars. Then we're looking at all of our revenue sources, everything from we haven't increased ticket prices in a number of years in a number of our sports, particularly basketball and football. We're looking at that, parking. What's our parking rates? Obviously, we've got the best parking for college football. All of those areas. And then what are the areas we're missing? Are there opportunities for sponsorships that we've not had a chance to do? We're looking at everything, are there outside dollars across we did a fun thing this year where everybody does the wound up, right, from the concession store. If you went and bought a hot dog and there was 50 cents to get to the even dollar, we round that up, and that brought in some dollars. So we're literally looking at everything we can possibly do to generate more revenue. So it's not all on our donors and our ticket buyers, but a majority of it's going to be, through their help is how we're going to get there.
Yeah, and I think you did a great job articulating in your Ask the AD segments about the impact of athletics. So, it's not just about wins or losses. I mean, this really has a direct impact on the university, the community, the state.
Yeah, we did a study through the university, with the university, of what kind of value does college athletics, particularly K-State athletics, bring. And it's about $500 million to the state in tax dollars and revenue through hotels and restaurants. We're very valuable to the state. And when I say we, both us, Kansas, University of Kansas and Wichita State, we actually went and spent some time with our state legislators laying that out about the value we do bring to the state. And so the more chances we have to be successful, the more our stadiums are filled, the more our restaurants and hotels are filled, the more tax dollars we bring in. So we have to find a way to get to this number, because if we don't, then our ability to be successful like we have been is going to be very, very challenging.
Yeah, that impacts everybody.
100%.
So how can alumni and friends help support, athletics and during this important time?
Well, I think a couple of ways. One is just learn about it. I think if you haven't seen the Ask the ADs, I think Brian Smuller makes me look really, really smart, just like you are by asking me really good questions, because it explains it very well. And then, so understand it, at least learn from it, and then look for ways that maybe you can help, whether it's through being an Ahern Fund member if you're not, if you're a season ticket holder, just helping us understand how do we get there. But I think one thing we have that we're very fortunate, and you know this in your role, is how passionate and how much pride our alumni and our fans have for not just K-State athletics, but for this university. Mm-hmm. And they want this university to succeed at a high level in everything we do. And I think that pride that the alumni have can come through in helping us with this issue.
Yeah, and that's important for us to help support you, because at the end of the day, the Alumni Association is here to support all of K-State, including athletics.
Absolutely.
And we all know when athletics does well, the community, the university does well.
And you do a great job. Our relationship has been phenomenal over the years since I've been here. I mean, we do so many good things together. Mm-hmm. We're able to take advantage of our events collectively, and both with the Development Foundation and the Alumni Association. So that relationship has been very, very positive for a number of years, and it just needs to continue to stay that way. And I know it will under your leadership.
I appreciate that. And I know years ago, we used to do separate events, and I think we finally said, what are we doing separate events?
Yeah.
And now we do events, jointly,
together,
which are great.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I saved the toughest question for last. So I'm out of the NIL deal.
Okay.
But I had 5 years of eligibility at K-State. Can I get a sixth, though? I had a meniscus surgery, so
anymore, Adam. I joke. I said I think we're going to have to start retirement benefits for athletes because some of these kids are playing 7, 8, 9 years. But if you put in a waiver and get a good attorney, you could probably find an extra year there.
You never know. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for everything you do and for being here.
I appreciate it.
One of my favorite parts is we going to talk about the scoop on K-State. So talking about corporate sponsorships.
Yep.
Call Hall is our unofficial sponsor here.
Awesome.
So what did you choose for us today for ice cream?
I'm a pretty boring ice cream guy. The Purple Pride I really like, but I'm just a chocolate guy. I'm a chocolate milkshake dude. I'm not a fancy, every once in a while I'll splurge and do strawberry, but I'm a chocolate ice cream guy.
Just classic through and through.
Basic. I call it boring, but I appreciate the classic.
Yeah, classic. Yeah, it's good. Can't go wrong with chocolate.
Awesome.
It's a good one.
Do I get to try it now?
Go for it.
All right.
Just don't get any on you.
Absolutely.
That'll be on the blooper reel.
Yeah.
So, Gene, I appreciate everything you're doing and what you do for K-State. And I know as alum and former student athlete, really appreciate your leadership and what you're doing. So just thank you for everything you do and your partnership and our friendship as well.
I appreciate it very much, and got a great staff. My job is very easy. Love to come to work every day and love this institution, and got a lot of great things to accomplish together.
Sounds good. Well, that wraps up another episode of The Scoop on K-State. I'm Adam Walker, President and CEO of the K-State Alumni Association, and I want to thank you for watching and listening to our show. Until next time, be sure to share this podcast with your friends and family. Select that follow button on your podcast app so you never miss an episode. And on behalf of the K-State Alumni Association staff, we're proud to be your connection to campus. We value and appreciate your ongoing support and membership. If you're not currently a member, please consider joining. And of course, Gene, go Cats.
Go Cats.